Jungkook, is this the little story he fed you with? He scoffed. Vine's eyes blinked, not believing a word he says. Still, she wanted to know the reason why her man had to be killed. She stayed quiet, but he couldn't be anymore. He started spitting facts, the facts that she never knew, the facts that she couldn't believe at all, the facts that made her heart broken. She never wanted to listen to this. Jungkook continued. The lives he has taken can't even be counted. His way of killing is the most brutal in the whole underworld. Everyone shivers after hearing his name. He's been my enemy for so long, and I don't regret killing him. I don't regret even one drop of it. He kept saying. She kept listening in denial. She didn't believe one bit of it. She shook her head and kept saying, no, it's not true, in her heart and mind. Vine, why do you think I will believe what you say? You don't need to keep saying, because I won't believe it. Thanks for telling me the truth. I know what kind of a person he was, and that will never change, she said, having clarity in her voice to make her point. Jungkook, don't be such a fool. Listen to yourself, not anyone else. Doesn't all of this seem a little odd? He's a billion, in fact, trillionaire. How does he have so much money? His voice finally unthreatening as he tried to explain. One, he has a family business that he runs in order to. She had innocence in that voice and face, but she stopped talking when he scoffed, then started laughing. Jungkook, he doesn't even have a family. You say business? Jungkook, the family he introduced you to is not even his real family. He hired his people to act like his family. Those people whom he will kill when he is done using them. He said, his voice convincing. His tone carried weight. Vine couldn't hear the word kill again. She screamed loudly. She screamed in denial. She screamed in agony. She screamed in disbelief. The scream was filled with all of these emotions, and he could sense every one of it. He could feel the depth of it. He wanted to hug her. Vine, stop saying this. He is not like that at all, she said in a loud voice, and burst into tears. Her sobs were loud enough. Her eyes shed agony, her heart in disbelief. As she was crying, he pulled her softly towards himself to hug her. Her head resting on his chest. Vine, leave me, please. You don't have a right to hug me, she said without moving or trying to break the hug, as she didn't have the courage to, nor did she want to break such a heartwarming hug. The hug that provided her with the warmth she badly needed. The hug which provided her the support. The hug that made her cry all she wanted without caring about the surroundings. She kept crying, but he stayed with her patiently, without moving, without getting tired. In between, he would pat her hairs or back to provide her the comfort. After a few minutes, she broke the hug and sat straight on her seat while wiping her tears. she said while looking downwards. Why do you keep telling me this? Who are you? And why did you take me here? She asked him, but he looked at her. Again, that piercing gaze of his on her body that made her shiver. He didn't reply. She spoke again. Let me go, please. I won't tell anyone about this, okay? Just for once, let me be free. For once, she said while sobbing, tired of the reality she has been living in. Jungkook, I will let you go. But where will you even go? Do you have a place to run to? Do you have someone to run to who will provide you with the freedom? He said, his expressions unwavered despite his cold sayings. She kept looking downwards. Her tears stopped flowing. Her heart stopped feeling emotions. Her body felt only one thing: coldness. She sat frozen at her place without answering him. Jungkook, after a few moments, spoke with a soft voice. Let me be the one for you. She finally moved. Her eyes blinked, and her face turned towards him. She looked in his eyes, and he looked in hers as he continued. Let me be the one whom you can run to in such situations. Let me be the one to provide you with the support. Let me be the one to provide you with the freedom. He said in one row, locking his eyes with hers. If anyone else in the world had said that to her, after killing someone in front of her eyes, she would have punched that person in the face. But that wasn't the case when she heard it while looking in his eyes. She was lost in those dark eyes. She felt the tension and worries leaving her body. She felt relaxed. She took a sigh and moved her eyes from him to look at the view in front of her. The complete forest. The complete lonely forest. She didn't say anything, just let the flow happen to her. He understood her. He knew what she was feeling while he looked in her eyes. He started driving the car. She didn't have anyone anyway who would come for her in this deserted forest to rescue her. She went with him without resisting. Wine opened the window of her side and let the breeze cool down her mind and emotions. She didn't cry again. He didn't let her. She felt just like those trees who stand with each other but never help each other. The world is filled with people, but she is still alone. She looked at her right, at the man driving the car, and thought, or maybe not all alone. Maybe not anymore. She blinked and asked him, where are we going? Jungkook, towards your freedom, he said in a soft voice, making her comfortable. He continued, towards my mansion, where you won't feel lonely anymore, because I'll be by your side all the time. And I will never lie to you about who I am. I will never leave you alone. She knew everyone says that, but in the end, no one is able to keep their promise. But she didn't doubt it when he said that. She could hear the truth in his voice, see the shine in his eyes, and know the intentions in his heart. She didn't know how, but she knew it. Jungkook, I might look like a liar to you. I understand the feeling after what happened to you. But I won't only make promises. I will prove them to you, he said while looking at her, their eyes locking again for a second. Then he looked ahead. She didn't say anything again. They turned their heads and looked ahead, to the way that will be their future, to the way that will be the reason for their freedom, to the way they will always call home.